Remember when we said we'd review The Last Stand last?
We lied. We are back!
With weapons.
And we are reviewing an Arnold movie!
Get to the review!
Get to the review!
Get your ass to the review and review The Last Stand with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in his first major film since Terminator 3. The last leading role. Expendables doesn't really count. I mean, he was just, you know, there. Like everyone else. But anyway.
So yes, we have watched The Last Stand, the first real Arnold movie since, like you said, Terminator 3.
Terminator 3.
So, how does it hold up? It was awesome!
It's an Arnold movie!
It's Arnold! It was amazing.
It's like he never left. Let's put it that way.
Oh yes. So yeah, for those who don't know the plot, it's kind of a mixture of two things. It's like a sort of action movie meets western thing, and Arnold pretty much plays like this small town sheriff who, you know, just patrolling his town. Everything's quiet or whatever. Meanwhile, there's this bad guy that just escaped from the FBI who's causing all sorts of shit and is heading toward Arnold's town, and it's up to Arnold and his buddies to stop him before he reaches the border. And chaos ensues.
With lots and lots of guns.
And explosions.
And a big yellow bus, but we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And a freaking speed demon of a car.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
I want that car.
That's what you kept saying. It's like, I want that car.
Oh my god, yes. I think this movie also doubled as sort of a car commercial.
Seriously, like a lot of the scenes that you see the car in, it practically is.
It really is. It is a car movie. Like, the cars are a big part.
Well, I wouldn't call it a car movie. It's not like Fast and Furious where everything revolves around it.
All right, but I mean the cars.
The car is a big deal.
Are a big deal. They are a major plot point.
And there is a race at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, it mostly focuses on Arnold, as it rightfully should.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we should delve into the characters.
Yes.
Yes, of course, starting with Arnold.
Arnold as the sheriff. And what I like about this is that the way they set up his character, it's almost kind of like it mirrors a little bit of what happened in real life, because after Terminator 3 he ran for governor, became governor of California, and then he didn't do movies for the 2 terms that he was elected to. And then he comes back, and this is like his first, you know, first major movie, first major Arnold movie since he became governor. And the way that it's reflected is that he's this, the sheriff was he was a cop in L.A. Like, he wanted to go to the
He was a big-time cop.
Like a big-time cop in L.A., you know, he wanted to be in the big city. And then after this one incident, I think it was something like a drug bust or whatever, they mentioned it later, and he says that, you know, he saw too much, he saw enough bloodshed, and he decides to retire, you know, decides to become
Go
a
to
small
town and just...
Which is kind of like what he did in real life, where he went off, you know, became governor, wanted to do something big, and then, you know, he kind of just backed off, and he's going back to
what he knows.
Yep.
Which is being Arnold.
Yep.
And kicking ass.
Yeah, and I gotta say that, even though he is obviously visibly older, like, he still knows how to like, sell those action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he still knows how to, like, drive all badass, shoot all badass, punch real badass. Like, it's still Arnold's, you know, just with a few grays and a lot of wrinkles.
Also, he has a couple of one-liners also that he pulls off.
Yes, the one-liners. It can't be an Arnold movie without the one-liners. Does it, I especially love the last line he says about the car.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't have parked it there.
Yeah, there's like... It's one of those things where it's like there, you know it's gonna come back later and be, you know, a bigger thing, but they give you a lot of time to forget about it, and then when it comes in, you're like, oh yeah, that thing.
I do like the setup for a lot of things.
Yes.
A lot of the foreshadowing is really well done. And, but yeah, in terms of everything else, like, so the other characters, for instance, Arnold gets an entourage, of course, because, you know, even Arnold can't go up against, you know, bad guys by himself. I mean, he could, but not at this age.
No.
And not in this caliber. So there's 4 people that help him out. There's
Jerry,
his deputy, who pretty much is there just to bleed.
the young
and
rookie.
give exposition.
He's like the young rookie cop who he wants the big, glitzy life of the LA cops. And he's always asking, oh, can you help me get transferred to the LAPD? And yeah, we won't go into what happens to him, but yeah.
As I say, like he's one of those guys who wants to do like big things, but at the same time he can't even shoot a gun properly.
Yeah.
And yeah, he doesn't know the procedure for approaching an armed suspect, and yeah, he wouldn't have lasted a day in LA. Let's just say that much.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw like 2 possible outcomes for his character. One of them did happen.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So we have that guy. We have the girl.
I don't even remember her name.
But she's like she's the
girl.
The love interest. The other deputy. Then again, they everyone ends up becoming deputies, but she's like one of the other main deputies, and she's the one who she knows her stuff, but she also had an ex-boyfriend who was also the other character, and basically with her, like, she knows, like, she has some good moments, like, especially mostly in the action bits, shooting shooting the guns, using the sniper rifle later on, but her character
sort of bland,
just to be pretty.
Yeah.
Supposed to be the love interest for the next character. He's not even an official cop. He was actually a prisoner. He's the typical guy that, had everything going for him, but then he just threw it away for some vague, unknown reason, and now he's
locked up.
Yeah, he's now just some loser who occasionally gets locked up for being drunk and disorderly. And of course, once all this shit goes down, he steps up and he's like, I want to help. And then this whole experience changes him for the better.
We should also mention, in addition to him being the ex of that one girl, he's also friends with Jerry.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, those are like the 2 big things prompting him to like help out when
everything goes down.
It basically gives the characters the push they need to, say, okay, we're gonna make this quote unquote last stand, and we're gonna stop this guy from crossing the border.
Yeah, but aside from his whole redemption, which we could see coming from the very beginning,
everything about him is predictable.
Yeah, predictable, bland. There's nothing else distinguishable about him. He's just there, just to be the sort of bad boy of the group, I guess. And then you have the 4th member,
Luis Guzman.
Yeah,
Luis Guzman, yes.
Who's like the lazy.
I wouldn't say he's lazy. He's the guy.
He's lazy and he's a coward.
No, he's more the guy who just doesn't want to take risks. He's like
he's the small town cop who's not used to the big stuff. That's pretty much him.
And he's afraid. He's like, he doesn't want anything involved with it.
Plus, he's pretty much more comic relief than anything, because he is a comedian. So.
But he does get, aside from like his hesitance and whatever, he does still have like his badass moment.
Yes.
Won't say what it is. It's like you think he's gonna get wasted, and then
all of a sudden he comes
He just gets badass.
And and then we have
Johnny Knoxville.
The fifth person. Johnny Knoxville's character, Lewis. Yeah, he's pretty much a gun paraphernalia collecting crazy man who shoots at carcasses of cows with Glocks and has like these machine weapons used against Nazis, and he's
it's like watching Deadliest Warrior.
pretty much. And of course, you know, he starts off as just the crazy man that they sort of let him get away with stuff, if only because he obviously has the license to own all this stuff. But then, of course, he becomes extremely useful when they actually need weapons to go against the bad guys. Then, of course, he's typical Johnny Knoxville.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some real what the fuck jackass moments that happen.
But then again, they work that into his character, and that's what I kind of like about him in this role, is that they take the... Because, I mean, he's been in other stuff, non-jackass related, but not very memorable, at least as far as I know. And to have him throw into something like this, where his character is just basically, you know, him being jackass, but yet he's a side character, and he's almost pretty much the second comedy relief. It works here, like especially in the one scene where he has to use a chainsaw to like cut down one of the lights, you know, to create like this barricade, and then he goes on top of it, try to knock it down. Yeah, you know, that kind of thing.
I still don't get that scene.
I don't either.
I don't get why he needed to knock over the lamppost. I feel like they already had a barricade. Why does he need to go and do this?
Yeah,
because I guess because they needed a Johnny Knoxville scene to have him be jackass. I don't know.
He does have one...
Oh, and he names all of his like weapons and things.
Yeah, like he gives them cute little names, you know, like typical like girl names and stuff. And like Arnold actually asked him, he's like, do you have stupid names for everything you own? He's like, only the shit I like. And he actually has one pretty like badass scene where he shoots that guy.
Should we talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
He loses his main weapon, and there's a guy coming near him or getting away, I forget which, but like in like a panic he grabs a flare gun and shoots it at the guy.
He shoots it at the guy who's like has like all this ammo around him, like ammo belts, and all of a sudden the ammo from his ammo belt starts going off like, and then eventually just explodes and like half his body is gone, and all he has left is a torso. All he has left
was hilarious.
is his bottom, his legs. That's it. It was fun. It was funny, and yet, just a bit cringe-inducing because it's like.
Yeah. Imagine one of those boomers from Left 4 Dead, and you'll get a pretty good picture of how that guy died.
And then you have Forrest Whitaker, who, in the long run, really didn't do anything.
Yeah, he plays the head of the FBI, who's like making it his like big mission to recapture the bad guy after he escapes and to free a hostage that he took. But really, they could have had anybody in that role. Like, Forrest Whitaker is really wasted.
Like, it could have just come in and all he did was just come in and be like, damn it!
Yeah, its whole purpose seemed to be just to yell a curse word every time something went wrong. He was like, you got away, sir. Shit! Oh, we lost visual, sir. Fuck!
I mean, yeah, he's the exposition.
You got through the barricade. Damn it!
I mean, he is sort of the exposition fairy in this case, but in the long run, who really cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, aside from that, there's really no other characters, like...
Other than the villains and the townspeople.
Like, in terms of the good guys, there's, like, no one else. Like, you have a handful of townspeople, which get a few lines here and there.
And then that one old lady.
We'll get to her in a minute, but
and then we have the villains, who's basically a Mexican drug cartel. Yeah, and he launches this whole sort of a Joker-esque escape plot. You know, like, I thought that's where they were going at first, because when they say that, oh, this is the most dangerous drug cartel out there, we're going to transfer them from this place to this place, so be on your guard, and I'm like, oh boy.
You already know where it's going. However, the execution is... There's something very different about the execution of it.
Mm-hmm. The truck that he's riding in actually gets taken off the street by a giant magnet.
Crane carrying a magnet.
I'm not sure how that works, but
How did they not notice?
I don't know, but
Maybe
somehow it works.
Did they like not notice? Like look at the rearview mirror and be like, "Oh, what was that?" Then just this giant magnet crane just comes and lifts him up, so the main villain can like get him in go like Jack Bauer on him and just break his neck with his legs. But he ends up doing, and then he tosses the guy out, and then he makes his escape. But at first I thought, oh, this is going to be like one of those like over the top villains, with like in good Arnold fashion. But that was probably the only real over the top moment. I mean, there was another one maybe with the blockade, but
I guess
I will say this guy is sort of subtle. Like he's there. And he talks, he has a big, Spanish accent, but he's kind of subtle.
He has mad driving skills.
Yeah.
compared to other Arnold villains, definitely.
Yeah,
his big thing is that he's like this really, really like good racer, and as we mentioned before, with it being a car commercial, it's because that he has a modified Corvette, and anyone who's ever owned a Corvette or knows about Corvettes know how freaking fast they go. Well, this one hits like the 200 miles per hour.
And
like,
not only is he like a racer, but he's also really accomplished at stunt driving.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he can bypass like all sorts of traffic. He can like drive around them.
He can like turn around on a dime and drive backwards.
He can even drive over them.
Yes. And I'm still kind of in awe of how he did this. It's probably not physically possible, but there's this one scene where there are like these two SWAT SUVs in front of him, and they're clearly a lot heavier than this, little sports car. But he drives in front of them, turns around, and then drives right in front of them, hits them from the side, and makes them flip over. And not just like, boom, I mean like...
That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And like we said, like up to the part when he gets to Arnold's town, like pretty much everything goes smoothly in his plan. Like he's able to bypass every single barrier. And you know that if it wasn't for the fact that Arnold was in this movie, you'd probably think he would make it across the border. But yeah, you can't get past the Arnold.
No.
Like, here's the thing. When it comes to the racing parts, I knew he would outrace Arnold. Like, it was a bit sort of unbelievable that Arnold would sort of get him at certain points.
That he'd sort of, match him.
Like, his character is shown that he knows how to drive.
Yes.
At one point, he ambushes the guy's goons who are building, like, a bridge across this canyon, which would allow him to go into Mexico. And, you see him, turning the car around, shooting a whole bunch of guys as he does so, backpedaling over them, running them over, and speeding away without getting shot. So you know he's good at cars, but when you go up against this guy, the cartel, you're thinking, okay, this Darnold's gonna get his ass handed to him at this point. But he actually manages to keep up decent enough.
That's because he had another car that was
not as
fast. Yeah, not as fast as the Corvette, but I mean. It's still caught up with it.
True.
Yeah, and while we're at that point, I think we should mention the townspeople.
Yeah, well, the good news is we don't really, we actually get an explanation, because unlike previous, action movies and stuff where all this big stuff would go on in, these supposedly populated cities and towns, but strangely there's no one around. In this case, they explain it because, half the town's away at a football game, which is, couple miles away, but there's a handful that do stay, and even though Arnold and them try to get them out of the town because they know that the bad guys are coming, they still stay because they don't give a shit.
Well, because they're
it's
old.
the funniest thing.
They're old. They're just I'm old. I don't care.
I'm ordering this big breakfast that's completely unhealthy for me. I don't care about my health.
There's I just ordered I just ordered like a triple cheese omelet with a ton of bacon. You think I'm afraid of death?
And Arnold's like, alright, whatever. We're just gonna go.
Yeah.
Just stay away from the windows. And then eventually he goes through the window and he's like, how are you feeling? Old.
But for the most part, they don't really do anything. Like, they're just there. Except for this one person.
Yes, except for the one lady.
It's like you see it coming, but even then you're still like in shock when it happens.
Basically what happens is there's this old lady who's like sitting in her house, and one of the thugs that's fighting with Arnold and the deputies like comes up, just sneaks across, just trying to get a good...
He's trying to ambush everybody.
Trying to ambush everyone, and the old lady's like, will you get out of here? And he's just like, shut up, lady. So she's just like... just takes a gun, just shoots him.
And then Arnold comes up to her and he's like, do that? He's like, I was just doing my duty. Much obliged.
It kind of reminded me of Hot Fuzz with, like,
really
with old people just whipping out like guns and just start shooting everyone.
Well, it's the South. What do you expect?
Yeah. Arizona, but
It's South,
still
West,
South.
and that gives you even more reason.
It's like a small southern town, and you got a lot of gun-toting people. Mm-hmm. It's not complete surprise, but it's still kind of shocking.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like, that all happens, and the showdown between Arnold and the bad guy, because there always has to be one, and it didn't disappoint, but it was kind of predictable, like, where it was going. Because you have this one guy who obviously is shown to be, like, a really good racer, and I guess a pretty subpar fighter.
Yeah.
But when you see Arnold and everything that he goes through against all those thugs with the guns, and then you see this guy who for the most part is unarmed, yeah, you know who's gonna win.
Yeah. I do like the fight. The
fight was pretty good.
The main fight, the final battle takes place on a bridge. The bridge, you know, between that canyon that divides, you know, U.S. and Mexico, and they're duking it out. You know, they're throwing some punches, like Arnold just giving like German suplexes, and he's like punching a guy. Like the villain gets him up into like and tries to, you know, get him in that hold, you know, with his legs, and then he just like lifts him up. He's like, then he like power bombs him like on the side, the steel rail, and it's just like, I'm just like, ow. And yet the guy was still moving. I'm like, how? Your back is like broken at this point. But he gets up, tries to like stab him with the knife, but then he takes the knife.
It's Arnold. He's been shot, stabbed, almost impaled. Like, he's had all sorts of shit done to him. Like, they even show...
He's a walking hospital visit.
Yeah, like, they even show at one point the guy tries to, like, sort of slice his tendons with glass, and even stabs him with it at one point. Mm-hmm. He keeps going. You know, he's Arnold. He's indestructible, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
He's the Terminator.
Then he finally gets him. He finally stabs him in his thigh. He's like, ah.
Oh, God. And he's like, I'll give you anything. 15 million.
20 million.
and while we're on it, like, I should say, like, the stunt and the fight choreography for this is pretty good.
I really enjoyed it.
This was decent. This was well done. I mean, I was kind of nervous at first because, I mean, one, Arnold hasn't been doing it in a while, and two, I mean, the man's old. The man's like in his 60s.
Yeah.
And he's doing all this crazy stuff, but, you know...
He's still in good shape, and
he still managed to do it. They managed to make it work with, you know, with what he can still do. And they pull it off very well.
Although, granted, it's like only really that scene and maybe another or one or two other scenes where he's actually like doing this hand-to-hand and running around, but... I mean, generally the guy's still in really good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we said, he definitely must have bench pressed like a bastard to get into shape for that role.
Yeah, really.
And also, like, a lot of the deaths that they show are pretty gruesome.
Yes.
Like we mentioned, the whole guy who had the flare gun shot at him and exploded, and that other guy who had his fucking head shot off by that old lady.
There is also another one.
Yes.
With, basically there's a guy on the roof, and Arnold comes up, he goes up the stairs. He gets to the top of the he gets to the top of the roof, and he's running. He shoots the guy.
Boom! Headshot.
Boom! Headshot. Tackles him. Falls through like falls down 2 stories, like through 2 different like canopies, down on the ground, and he's out. It's like,
excessive? What's that?
Stop it! He's already dead.
The guy was already dead by shooting him, but he still tackles the guy, and it falls like 2 stories. It's so brilliant.
And there's another gruesome one too. The head goon guy. He's like the only one left at this point, and
he
he's
gets
like
shot in the ear.
Yeah, like Arnold is like trying to like sneak up on him by like climbing under the bus where the guy's hiding in. He's
trying to grab the gun that what's his name dropped.
Yeah, he finds the Glock that Johnny Knoxville dropped, and he shoots up through the bus floor. Fucking shoots the guy's ear off. It's so disgusting looking. And you didn't even hear like the guy like the ringing since his ear is not fucking missing. Yeah. He probably like partially deaf at this point. But it's like you sort of experience sometimes like how some of the characters or the henchmen are like going through being injured and stuff, and like you generally feel like the weakness and vulnerability because like I'm like oh shit, Arnold's gonna appear at any minute. He's gonna appear. He's gonna shoot his head off. Ah, there he goes. So, but yeah, the Arnold. This movie was definitely entertaining.
Yes,
like
it was.
A lot of fun to watch. It definitely goes back to the old Arnold movies. I totally love it.
There are definitely problems with it, but who cares? It's Arnold. Although
most of the real problems is really the pacing of it, because the pacing, as much as we like this movie, I mean, the beginning
it starts very slow.
Exactly, it starts off very slow. You know, I mean, eventually it does pick up after like the first like 20-30 minutes. Then it starts to get a bit then it starts to really pick up.
I think the problem with it is that essentially in the beginning we're watching 2 different movies.
Yeah,
but we have to. For the conclusion of it, because it all intertwines and it all builds to something.
It all builds to that last 20 minutes with that big shootout and that fight on the bridge. You know, it's all one giant build up to this pretty kick-ass action sequence.
And I gotta say, there's some really nice, while this is an action movie, we did mention it's got that like Western feel to it. I mean, that's definitely intentional, but it works. Like, especially the scene on the bridge. That was, taken right out of the old Westerns.
I mean, even the way they were standing, like, Arnold, with his legs out, shoulder width, and, just waiting for the guy, to see if he could try and get across the bridge, and, that old-fashioned, shootout.
That old standoff. Yeah.
I kind of like that his reason for doing all this wasn't just the whole revenge factor like it usually is in his movies.
Yeah.
Like, nobody he knows is, like, kidnapped and, like, someone...
Well, there was a hostage, which is why they couldn't just... Why the FBI or CIA couldn't just blow the car up.
Of him, there was
there's nothing
personal at stake.
Well, technically it was, because it wasn't supposed to be their problem, but unfortunately the Bureau, the exchange got fucked up, and because everything that was...
I know, but they even established that the bad guys probably would have just went through. Had they wanted to not be involved at all, they could have just let them go through, pretend they didn't see anything, and nothing would have changed. But you see that he does this mostly, A, because, he's a cop, he wants to do what's right, and B, because he has a sort of honor, like a whole honor system with this, that he cannot consciously let these bad guys get away. And I find that pretty cool. Actually, for once, gives some depth to Arnold's character outside of he's just this big killing machine who, just wants to like kill these guys because A, they kidnapped someone he loved, or B, they killed someone he loved.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
yes, like I said, there is that sort of revenge factor there, but I think it's
very
more
small,
more for personal honor than for
more about honor, more about more about.
I guess the revenge just sort of makes it that much more important that they stop these people.
If anything, it gives motivation for the others.
Exactly what
to
I'm
join
saying.
him.
Yeah.
Like, he probably would have stood up regardless. So yes, that was The Last Stand. We definitely say go see it. If you like action movies or heck even westerns, this is the movie for you.
And even if you like Arnold, go see this movie. Do it now.
Do it now.
And speaking of action movies,
Yes.
the next time we do this,
Valentine's Day.
and what better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than to take your date out and go see A Good Day to Die Hard? That will be the next vlog that we'll be doing.
How romantic.
Yes, nothing more romantic than Bruce Willis saying, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
You better say
And
it.
blowing shit up.
He better say it. This movie will fail if he doesn't say it. So yes, next time we have Die Hard 5.
A good day to die.
Die Hard.
With a vengeance. Harder.
Or
Add on.
The free.
in any case,
So until next time, I'm Cat T Critic.
I'm one Sat Morn.
I'm Y2 Staller.
And we
We'll be
back
back.
with another vlog. Hasta la vista, baby.